Chinese community came all the way from Pontian, etc., to see this phenomenon, and it happened again. The statue moves backwards, and then, but I had faith that it is Swami who's doing. That's Buddha continued dancing. Devotees said, maybe it's because you put your speaker underneath the place where the statue was, where the vibration is, and bhajan sung, first making it move.
Good afternoon, Dr. Ravi.
Good afternoon.
We are indeed happy you with us here today for our video recording of the Baba and I series. First of all, we'd like to know, how do you first get to know Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Baba?
It really goes back to year 1978 when I bought a new house in Majid Park in Johor Bahru, and we heard some bhajans going on, and initially I was not very happy attending the bhajans. Slowly I moved in and I attended bhajans for the whole of 1978 and 79. In 1979, November, we decided to take a trip to Trivandrum to see Vijay's mother and father, and my children were with me. Sri Kumar was about 8 years old at that time, and Sri Devi was about 6 years. It so happened that he was not too well, Sri Kumar, and despite the fever and the medicines given, he continued to have a fever. But nevertheless, we had promised that he would be seeing Swami, and we were told by the people, the Samadhi in Trivandrum, that Swami has now moved to Whitefield. And in November 20, 1979, we met Swami, but he was in a hurry to go back. Next day was Sunday, and waited in the morning. I was told that Swami had gone out, that he would not come back. By evening, Swami came at 4 o'clock. By that time, me and my family were seated very near to the chair of Swami in Whitefield, in front of the statue of Lord Krishna. At 4 o'clock sharp, Swami came to the place where he normally sits, and Swami looked at my son, looked at me, came straight to my son, touched my son's head, and walked his way. And we didn't know what happened. My father went after Swami, but Swami he did not turn back. The next day, I asked my son, how's your condition? Son, how's your fever? Papa, the fever is gone. I have no more ulcers in my mouth. All is clear. We left about 10 o'clock in the morning to see Swami, and Swami was not there. He was told by Dr. Pillai from Singapore that Swami is having a fever and that he had taken my son's fever. As a doctor, I refused to believe that, and I said, it can't be true. No one takes somebody's fever. Swami has taken, he said. And we left for our hotel. Next day we came. Again we were told that Swami is not well. And on Thursday was the last day that we were there. Swami came. I was so happy that Swami called us for interview. And in the veranda of that small interview room, Swami called only about 25 of us. Both me and my wife were called in, and I was standing next to Swami. I had always believed when I was in Malaysia that Swami was taking something out from his sleeve, and that is all. I didn't want to believe. I came actually to scoff at Swami. And then he gave some vibhuti to my wife and to me, then asked someone at the back, a white man, as to what japa was. And the white man told Swami, Swami, I don't know what that means, Swami. Then he looked at me, lifted his sleeves, looking at me, he whirled his hand 3 times, and out came japa mala, which was about big one, and it fell on Swami's lap. This amazed me, because as a scientist, as a doctor, I refused to believe, but I was taken aback by this movement of Swami. Then another incident happened, and that was a child was crying. The mother said a child is having a defect, difficult to be controlled. Swami called the lady and said, go out. I was upset. how can Swami call this lady to go out? When the lady stood up, Swami said, no, no. I asked that thing inside, so the child to go out. After the child was quiet. It's later that I was told that there must have been an evil spirit within the child, and Swami cured the child. Next day we went back home to Malaysia. We were so excited. Swami gave interview, given us everything, and we decided to extend our house to accommodate at least 100 people in our hall, and a new bhajan center was started in the year 1980. By February, the Bali classes were started, and we had Baba's picture in all 3 rooms in my house. When we started, from each of the photos, Swami's honey started flowing. It was not just for a while, it flew. Everybody came out running, saying, Uncle, there's vibhuti, there is honey flowing from the photo. And then I realized that Swami is here with us. This saga went on for 5 years. Initially it was honey, and then it stopped. On Krishna Jayanti Day in August 1980, Swami again came back, this time from the statue of Krishna, honey flowing from Krishna's elbow. We collected all the drops. For the next 3 weeks to 4 weeks, we had so much honey collected, and many people came, and this went on for about 3 weeks to 4 weeks, and then it stopped. Then we had another incident, and this was something very strange. It was the day when we started singing bhajans. When we sing bhajans, the first bhajan was sung in such a way that when the bhajan started, there was nothing, and from the main picture of Swami, honey started flowing like a trident. 3 ways the honey started flowing. All 100 devotees, including Vijay Singham and all the old devotees, saw this. Children were surprised, and Swami revealed himself to us again. And this went on again. Every time when the public bhajans are sung in my house on Thursdays, this happens. Someone told us that this is happening because does it happen during your on Sundays when you have your family bhajan? I said, no, it doesn't happen. It went on for about 2 years, every day, every other day. And then a phenomenon happened. It was in the year 1983 that we had a dancing Buddha in my small cupboard, which I bought when I was in Mysore studying for my BSc. And the Buddha, as the bhajan started, there was nothing. And by the 3rd bhajan, the Buddha statue was moving forwards and hitting against the mirror and going this way and going that way, going backwards. Everybody was aghast. What is this? What's happening in this house? The children were crying. But I knew it was Swami. Swami's Leela is happening. Next week, Chinese community came all the way from Pontian, etc., to see this phenomenon.
When you say this dancing Buddha, is it made of wood or
made of acrylic? The statue moves backwards. But I had faith that it is Swami who was doing this. And the devotees multiplied. More Chinese came to our center. There was no more place to sit, all sitting out the veranda outside. And it was full house. In 1984, the dancing Buddha continued dancing. One day, one devotee said, maybe it's because you put your speaker underneath the place where the statue was. Probably the vibration is, and bhajan sung, was making it move. So next week, we took it down. And still, as we sung the bhajans, the 3rd bhajan, Buddha started moving. Went on, and he'll come and hit against the mirror. Everybody's eyes are not on Swami, but on Buddha statue. This went on for about a year or 2, until one day, suddenly, 1985, that my daughter came running and said, Acha, Buddha's burning. Statue of Buddha's burning. I was so shocked. Nobody in the house. Me, my wife sleeping in the afternoon, and my daughter was bathing. She came out to see this, and Secretary Raviji came. He came running. He saw the whole house full of soot. A simple acrylic one produced so much of soot. I cried. Why, Swami? Why? Swami knows why. I don't know why. We shifted from there. These Chamatkas were happening in my house till the year 1985, until one day we said, Swami, everybody is coming, and my old father is not able to. Swami stopped giving the vibhuti or the honey. The devotees coming is very special. When the honey is not there, devotee will come. But strangest of all was in August 31st, my wedding anniversary. While I was meditating, I saw a black thing and I thought it was honey. It was actually kumkumam. I called my wife and my father. They came and I gave kumkum on my wife's forehead and my father. I said, only Swami knows my anniversary. Nobody else will know. That is the sort of experience I had with the Chamatkas that Swami has given me. But what has it done to me? I've delved. It was in 1981 that I went for Bali Vika's program in Parthi. And there, Swami came to me and asked me, what are you going to teach? You are an adult, a man. Swami, I'll take group 3 classes. Yes, take group 3 classes. Not group 1 or 2. 1, 2 for mothers, for fathers, take group 3. Became a teacher. It is Swami who brought me into Bali Vikas. It is Swami who made me know everything about my own religion. I became a hungry person, wanting to read all about Swami's teachings and Swami's Leelas. Everything I went on reading. The period of that time was something like about 5 years. And you must know, Brother Billy, that in 1985 I was chosen as the medical coordinator for Malaysia. And then I had to travel to Segamat to hold the medical camp, and there I did service. From then on, it was service. I asked myself this question: what has it done to you? Service has made me a different person. I was transformed by Swami the day I met him. People can say what they want, but I tell you one thing: I was a tough man when I was in the government hospital. When I came to Swami, I became a milder person and I was able to face any situation. I was not affected by anything. Then somewhere in 1998, I was asked to take over the position of a central coordinator by Brother Jaga. And I agreed. And the first interview was there in 79. Second interview was 1998 when I met Swami with Hira and with Uncle in Dubai and Nari Chugani. Swami looked at me and asked, which countries are you covering? I said, Swami, I'm covering 4.1, which includes Philippines, Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore. Oh, for the next 2 years, watch out for troubles in Indonesia. There'll be more earthquakes, tsunamis. I didn't know what tsunami was at that time. He predicted, and it so happened 2002. I went to see Swami, and then he told, go back. I didn't know why. Then I realized there was an earthquake there. So we had done many earthquakes out in various places, in Indonesia, in Philippines, Sri Lanka. Swami was with us all the time. So therefore we believe that what Swami has done to me is made me a better person. I know I have to improve further, and I leave it to Swami, because the saddest day of my life, I wish to declare to all of you, it's the day when I got this feeling. I was there for lunch with my wife, and I told my wife, Swami's calling me, Ji, I have to go. This was on 20th of April 2011. I must go. So she said, we can't get ticket today, it's already noon. So next morning I left. I called, she said, I can't let you go alone. You go Danesh. Call Danesh. Danesh said, okay, bye, I'll come. So Danesh, myself, went all the way. Met ready. He said, Swami is fine. PP, pulse, everything is fine. Next day, I was coming out for the mandir. There was a 22nd. He came. He told, Swami has left. So I said, what? This was the president of the Tamil Nadu SSO by name Ramani. And Ramani told me that Swami has left us. I couldn't control anything. I just walked to the mandir, sat there, told Raja Reddy, please don't let me go out. I wouldn't go out. I'll wait for Swami to come here. Me and Danesh waited in his room till 4 o'clock when the body was brought. And for the next 2 days I cried like a baby. I've never cried in my lifetime. For the first time when I saw Swami lying there instead, I cried and cried. People come, thousands and thousands of people came. The moment they say, Baba, everything come into my eyes. The love that Swami had, that they had for Swami, cannot be explained. I miss my Swami. but I know He's in my heart. Whatever I think, He has helped me in avoiding a lot of accidents. My heart attack this January was another example where I got up after 6 hours normal and working. I know Swami is within me, and I will pray that all of us understand that Swami's connections with us is heart to heart and nothing else. Sai Ram.
Dr. Ravi, which was your most memorable visit to Swami? Most memorable experience with Swami?
To answer the question, I must take you back again to the time when we had the Buddha Purnima. This was in 2002, I remember, in Whitefield. And I was, at that time, I was still Central Coordinator, and Dr. Paldal was in charge. He was sitting on the other side, I was sitting next to Swami on this side. And the ladies from Sri Lanka were dancing, and I was massaging Swami's feet. I touched his feet first, he looked at me, he smiled. He let me do all that for next half an hour to 1 hour. That was most memorable period. When I touched his feet, I just closed my eyes. I was in a different place. The other thing that I must tell you is, Swami has number of times come to me, asked me, where's the letter? And sometimes I wonder why. I had no letter to give. One day, Chaplani gave me a letter, and I gave to Swami. Swami asked, who is it from? A Japanese patient in Japan having cancer of the stomach, dying. Swami, bless him, bless him. He just touched the letter, went off. That touched me because normally he will just walk away. Swami has been my friend. He's close to me. He has touched my heart. When I speak of Swami, I always cry because of the love I have for him.
Has Swami materialized any gift of love for you?
Yes. Swami has given me 2 rings, and I still wear them. And Swami has always told me one thing in life, that you will be all right. You will do it. Go and do your work. That's why, even though I'm 74, 75 now, continue to do his work. I want to do it for him because I love him. We have done everything possible to uplift people, but we feel that we can do much more. I think that God is within us, and we must search for Him, not outside, inside. Meditation is the only way. I have a number of interviews with Swami, and there are 2 things I would like to tell you is this. One is the accident that happened in Singapore. Me and my wife were returning after a meeting with the Singapore SSIU, and as we reached near Woodlands, my car skidded. In the car, it's a Mercedes-Benz, it went. I thought it went to the ravine, which is down there looking at me. I lost consciousness, my wife lost consciousness, and the car turned and said, people came running. All the cars behind me stopped. They came running, asked, anybody hurt anybody? My wife had a sleep injury, otherwise we were both okay. I asked, can I proceed to Woodlands with the police? You just tell the police what happened, that nobody is injured, and they will let you go. Some months later, I was parking my car. Me and my wife came out of the car. Above me, it was a very quiet evening. No wind, nothing. A brick suddenly fell inches away from me. Again I was saved. Who do you think saved me? Swami. Because one miss, it hit here, I'm gone. It's a brick, height of about 100 feet. So for me, he has always been with us in times of suffering, in times of everything. We believe him 100%. And I want everyone to realize that Swami is with us. And he's always told, I have a heart-to-heart connection and not otherwise. So we must believe that. I don't have to show this to anybody, because the interview, I'm opening my heart to you, and I've written 1 or 2 articles, but I don't go to this level where I open my heart. And I believe one thing, that Swami is an avatar. Swami, through his teachings, has changed me. I read the Vedanta, I've read the Bhagavad Gita, I've read the Quran, all because of Swami. Before that, I will never read it. Why? Because I'm Balavikas Guru, I'm taking classes. Jesus Christ, I know very well because I was in a Christian school in Kampa. So I know very well that it is God who led me on this path to liberation. I won't say it is liberation, I'll say path to divinity. And I only pray that I will be with him for a longer time, to be of service to him. Even though I'm 75, I'm full of energy. Where do you get energy, Ravi? He says, Swami is within me. I don't feel tired. I do 5 operations, I'm not tired. I go back, work. Why? Swami is within me. I have the guts to do it. I don't do much of, I do some bodybuilding exercise, that's all. But the energy within you is God's energy. That I tell you, which I always believe. Oh, you had an attack. Next day you're working. How come? I had a severe attack. I thought I'll die. So brother, in short, Swami is everything to me. And I now know the Swamis put me as a central coordinator and a zone chairman, not for anything but for my selfless service. That the purity heart must be there in me, that the longing of the Lord must be with me, so that I will continue to love Him, and His power of love and His grace will help me on this life. Sarah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ravi, for joining us for today's interview.
Thank you.